welcome to Jyotishi.com. So today we are going to talk about Saturn in different houses and what is its impact going to be like. Let's talk about Saturn in different houses.
Yes.
And let's take some celebrity examples and see what it is like when
Yes.
Saturn is in different houses in your birth chart.
Yes. So Saturn basically talks about being meticulous, being systematic in life, and then it generally talks about slow down. So anything related to something slow down in your life is beautifully related to Saturn kind of a thing. It sort of brings you to the edge and never gives the result, but at the end it gives the result kind of a thing. It delays but never denies. So Saturn also talks about destruction. It also talks about depression. It also talks about your mind getting completely encapsulated by negative thoughts kind of a thing. So generally Saturn is a beautiful planet. It's a karmic planet. It gives you the results of your karma.
Okay.
So whatever you've done in the past, whatever you've done in previous birth lives and all that, the accumulated, especially if it is a retrograde Saturn, it's a beautiful flavor that comes out. Yes,
Okay.
yes. So generally Saturn, we'll talk about a few interesting examples here today. So Saturn in the 12th house, we'll start with the 12th house here. So Saturn in the 12th house, a beautiful example is Anil Ambani. Anil Ambani, 5th lord in the 7th house, 7th lord in the 5th house, married a film star.
Right.
Saturn in the 12th house in Sagittarius. When the Saturn Dasha started, the entire wealth which was inherited or he built completely gone out of shape. So it's a very weak Saturn, and then that kind of a flavor is a beautiful example for this particular thing. So when such a situation is there, you have to be meticulous in life. You have to be systematic in life, and he's a runner. So Saturn is Manda. Saturn is called Manda. It's a slow. He should ideally go for walks, not runs. So if you go for, it's a passenger train basically. Saturn, it's not Rajdhani. So when you go for walks and those kind of things, you're sort of mitigating this to a certain level. And do good karma, because if it is accentuated with not so good karma, automatically all the wealth, like in the case of Anil Ambani, will be sort of disappears.
Okay.
So Saturn in the next we'll talk about our Bangalore boy Vijay Mallya. Saturn in the 4th house along with Rahu. So it's a beautiful example. 4th house of home. Saturn Rahu, he had to get out of this home, get out of the country kind of a flavor, and then that beautifully explains why he had to move out of this particular thing. And Jupiter in the Lagna kind of a flavor, he is a big built and those kind of things. So 4th house of homeland, 4th house of your foundation and those kind of things, he had to leave this foundation because the karma was not probably in the right direction.
Right.
So automatically 8th house Jupiter, 8th lord Jupiter in the 1st house, taking a lot of loans, and then not being able to repay and then move out of the country kind of a flavor. So that flavor comes out very well in this particular thing. Saturn in the 1st house, we have a beautiful example called Britney Spears. Britney Spears, there's something called orchestration and all that. The person has a diminished, Saturn the 1st house, diminished mental capabilities, and so somebody else, that is the father, was taking care of the entire wealth and all that, and she had issues related to nervous things and those kind of things. So from that point of view, it's a very, if it influences your mind, it's going to be reasonably very strong kind of thing.
Okay.
So another example where we can talk about where Saturn influences the mind is Salman Khan. So he has Saturn Moon. Saturn Moon combination is called Vish Yoga. So Saturn in the 11th house, Salman Khan has a Saturn Moon in the 11th house, which causes a Vish Yoga. And from the 11th house, you have the 3rd aspect on the 1st house. So he had facial related issues for a long time. So there were nervous related, facial related issues. And then he was also stuck in the black buck case for a long time. So Saturn is also legal hassle, Saturn is also cases, Saturn is also prolonging of things. So the results will not come, but it will keep hanging and it will keep moving kind of a thing. So Jupiter in Mrigashira Nakshatra in Germany, in Gemini.
Right.
So Mrigashira, black buck. Right. So deer. So end of Jupiter and beginning of Saturn, he got into this case, and it's still sort of continuing kind of a thing. So that's a beautiful flavor which comes there. Saturn in the 10th house, we have another celebrity actor from the South Indian industry who, he's supposed to be probably the richest actor in South India. Estimated net worth of about 2000 crores, but not very well known. His name is Dilip. He's an actor from Kerala. And Saturn in the 10th house, he was caught in a case wherein, exactly at the Saturn point of view, Dasha kind of a thing, wherein, he abused an actress and the case still goes on. But, a lot of political power and the cases are going on. The advocates are, in favor of him, against him, and those kind. That case is going on for a long time.
It's prolonging.
So, yes. So 10th house of career, and it is related to movies kind of a thing. Again, the money aspect of it is explained by Moon in the 2nd house, 3rd and 5th house Parivartana. A fantastic kind of a chart in terms of dhana.
Money.
Yes, yes. And Saturn in the 3rd house, we have a example called Princess Diana. Princess Diana, Saturn Jupiter in the 3rd house. 3rd house is again a sort of a house of accidents and all that, short travel accidents and all that. And exactly, end of Jupiter and beginning of Saturn, there was her demise was there, and then those kind of things. So that flavor is reasonably strong. So from that point of view, we are talking about reasonably examples, where Saturn has hit people in a negative direction, because these are the examples which are reasonably, people know about it. People becoming famous using Saturn are very less. People becoming famous using Jupiter and Gajagesri are many. Venus are many, but Saturn are very minimal. So we are talking about reasonably negative kind of example. Saturn in the 8th house, again, as soon as Shani Dasha started, we have an actress at 31 years called Smita Patil, who had to exit this world kind of a thing. So that exactly that 31 years, the Dasha started, and then she had to move out. So she has 4 planets like Osho. Osho has 4 planets in the 8th house. Smita Patil again has 4 planets in the 8th house, and then Saturn being strong out of them. And then obviously, eyes is defined, the lifespan is divided into 3 major things. One is Alpayusu, one is Madhyayus, and one is Dirghayus. So obviously anybody before 45 is generally considered as Alpayus. So again, another example for Alpayus is Saturn in the 9th house. We have a famous actress called Divya Bharti. Divya Bharti, again at the age of 19 years, she started acting at the age of 17 years, and 19 years, and she became a super hit actually, especially in Tamil, Telugu and Kannada movies. And then at the age of 19, 20, she had to sort of move out. So that flavor again exactly when the Shani Dasha started. So in all these cases, the Saturn is reasonably not very strong. So that point of view, the Saturn's ability to sort of sustain and then move on. So when it hits hard, it really hits hard. So Saturn, especially when it's weak, when it's weak in the chart, the flavor that it brings is depression. Flavor it brings is devastation. Flavor it brings is sort of complete. You lose control over what things are happening because it's totally related to a karmic. Next example is Saturn in the 2nd house. So Saturn in the 2nd house, we have a beautiful example called Shubroto Roy. So Sahara. So Sahara was one of the most famous companies in the country, and then a lot of people, we conferred Bharat, not Bharat, Padma Shri and those kind of things on that person. 2nd house of finance. So it's the largest company which attracted finance from public. And that finance became a problem for this particular company because 2nd house is Saturn. Again, that finance became a problem. People started asking for money. The company did not have money because it sort of deviated the money into different directions kind of a thing. So that flavor is also reasonably very attractive. So 2nd house is finance. 2nd house is also speech. So we have another example called Dr. Manmohan Singh, where he doesn't talk much. So he speaks only 4-5 words, and he is the prime minister. He was the prime minister of the country. So again, Saturn in the 2nd house is very slow, manda. You talk less, you talk sense, but you talk less kind of thing. So that flavor is also pretty strong. Saturn in the 5th house, we have another beautiful fugitive called Nirav Modi. fifth house of buying and selling.
Ah.
We have diamond merchant, the famous diamond merchant in the country, where he was involved in buying and selling. And eighth lord, where he collected a lot of loans, not able to repay loans because of again deviation of funds and those kind of things. So actually, deviation of funds is more got to do with Rahu.
Okay.
So like Vijay Mallya, Saturn, Rahu in the fourth house.
Ah.
And you deviate the fund, not being able to repay the funds, and then move out of the country, because fourth house is the
Right.
country kind of a thing. So Nirav Modi also similar sort of combinations from that perspective. So Saturn in the sixth house, we can talk about Dr. Abdul Kalam. So sixth house, his quotes on how to overcome enemies, both external and internal, is very famous from Abdul Kalam's point of view. So his three-pointer quote is flush in internet. So if you put Abdul Kalam's quotes, it talks about enemies, sixth house of enemies.
Right.
So sixth house also talks about being single,
Service. Ah,
service, and being in a single kind of a thing. So seventh lord in the 12th house. So sixth house generally talks about being single. So Abdul Kalam was sort of single. So that flavor is also reasonably very strong in that. And enemies, obviously, when you're rising in career and becoming a president from a normal government job, automatically there'll be enemies at workplace. And finally, Saturn in the seventh house, we have a beautiful example again, retrograde Saturn for Shah Rukh Khan. So Shah Rukh Khan, if you notice, seventh house actually is a beautiful position. Saturn 7th house is a beautiful position for a partner, because the Saturn gets exalted in the 7th house, in the natural house, in the natural zodiac. So from that point of view, you'll have a very dedicated partner like Gauri Khan, and that partner will be with you throughout life, kind of a thing. So very dedicated, and it's a very, very good position from a spouse's point of view. And if you notice, 7th house of Pada Prapti, and it's Saturn. So generally masses, from a masses perspective, he's a masses actor, actor for the masses, and then the fame usually comes out from there.
Since you've spoken about the impact of Saturn and its negative impacts, what should one person do? What are the remedies that can one person do?
So there are four things here. One is you have a weak Saturn in the chart. You have Saturn Dasha running. Third thing is you have either Kantaka Shani or Ashtama Shani. And fourth thing is you have 7.5, that is Sadesati going on. So these are the four major things, and you need not completely follow the track, because when four things happen, almost all the time there will be an impact of Saturn, because karmic impact will be there always in your life. So the main things that to do for Saturn is, one is Hanuman Chalisa. So Hanuman Chalisa is the best coverage for Saturn. You look at, so there are four types of purification that can happen. One is the water bath that you take, and the second is the air bath or the fire bath kind of a thing. Air bath is fantastic for a Saturn. So either pranayama or external air bath, wherever there are airy spaces or you are in hill stations or somewhere, just feel the air and then try to purify. So that's a fantastic thing. Third thing to do is go for long walks. So Saturn generally talks about very long walks kind of a thing. So long walks are the fantastic thing. So when do you go for a long walk? You ideally go for a long walk after dinner. So so if Saturn Dasha or Kantaka Shani is running, in the night after dinner, go for long walks. It's a fantastic remedy for Saturn kind of thing. And the fourth and the most another remedy that you can probably think of is, apart from Hanuman Chalisa, if you are worshipping Shastra, that is Lord Ayyappa, it is again a fantastic remedy. So Lord Ayyappa, there is various archanas and things are there for Lord Ayyappa. Or Lord Ayyappa's Gayatri is also fantastic. Fantastic for a Saturn kind of a perspective. Another thing that you can do is you can help the old poor people. So that is a very good remedy for Saturn. Also take oil bath. Oil bath is also a fantastic remedy from Saturn.
So like we mentioned, Saturn can have a negative impact on your chart depending on how it is placed. So if you would like to understand where Saturn is placed and what is its impact, do log on to jyotishi.com and we can help. Thank you.